Season 7 is known as the Walking Dead downfall, the season that ruined the show. But was it really that bad? Sure, it killed off not one, not two, but 3 main characters. But it also has some high highs, and we're going to go through them all as we recap the season and count every single death, from humans to animals to walkers and all the in between. I do want to quickly preface, I am not a 14-year-old boy, I am just ill, so any voice breaks you hear, just know they're like manly voice breaks. So with that being said, let me know your death prediction down in the comments below. Give a thanks to my channel members, and without further ado, roll the intro. Carrying on from season 6.
I'm gonna beat the holy hell out of one of you.
Before we find out who that special someone was, Negan decides it's time for a little field trip as his new dog keeps barking.
I'm gonna kill you.
He drags Rick to the RV for some training and runs over 2 walkers along the way before parking right in the middle of a horde. And to really drive home how much of a bitch Rick is now, Negan gives him an obedience test.
This is mine. Get my axe.
And he's off, pushing through the dead and retrieving it, like a good boy. He takes a 5-minute break on the roof to have a context flashback, watching Abraham getting his noggin cracked. Many times. Bro, chill, he's dead. Negan starts taunting Rosita, so Daryl decides to... Oh, Daryl, you fuckwit. I don't know what's dumber, throwing that punch, or the fact he did it with the arm that was just shot. Either way... No, not Glenn. Jesus, I think he's dead. You can stop now. No? Okay. I guess I was wrong this whole time. Turns out, Glenn wasn't in. On the bright side, I never have to struggle with his name again. And we're all caught up now. Negan gets tired of waiting for Rick, so he gives him a little nudge, forcing him to run and jump straight onto a swinging corpse. The walkers start clawing at his tootsies, so Negan, being the helpful soul he is, puts a few bullets down range, taking out 8 walkers. Rick gets a turn too, swinging and dinging 9 of them, clearly trying to one-up Negan, which we know he won't let slide. So Negan pops his head out, killing another 8.
Attaboy!
Nah, that's some next level violation. Bro even sat down afterward. The fun isn't over yet. Negan orders Rick to cut off Carl's arm in a final display of control.
You answer to me. You belong to me. You provide for me. Provide for you.
He's even panting like a dog. And the cherry on top is Rick saying,
Confrontation's never been something we've had trouble with.
a deal is made that the group will supply the saviors with whatever they want every week without fail. And if they don't, they'll be right back here, taking Daryl as collateral. The episode starts with 10 deaths, freaking Carol the hell out. You see, she's still tripping balls from all them shrooms she had last season, watching people turn from walker to human. Did you know these walker death visions were filmed using twins? One twin gets buried in makeup, the other rocks up and gets paid the same. Carol wakes and gets a tour of this new town called the Kingdom. Pretty chill place, all medieval. I like it. Even got a king, who's got a tiger.
Hello, I'm Tigger.
You scared me.
Yeah, sure I did.
Damn, that tiger must be such a drain on resources. Imagine slaving away all day just for your leader to give most your weekly rations to feed a pet. I'll be pissed. But hey, can't really argue with. Morgan heads out of the royal guard and passes skeleton walker person thing, whilst rounding up piglets to feed the saviors. Because apparently the kingdom has the same problem as Hilltop and Alexandria. Only difference is, the kingdom has enough food to feed the saviors, themselves, and a tiger, while everyone else is starving. So I guess the royalty thing actually works. This kid named Ben tries to take out a walker by hitting it in his shoulder. After realizing this boy is clearly suffering from some kind of head trauma, the king steps in and finishes the job. On the way out, a walker sizes them up and starts doing the side shuffle, trying to remember what the attack button is. So Morgan steps in. The High King asks him to teach young Ben how to use the stick attack, so he does. And sometime later, he accompanies them to the savior deal, handing over 8 walker stuffed pigs. There's also a walker corpse here that needs counting. At night, Carol and the king finally talk honestly. He admits he's not actually a king, just plays a role, as it gives his people peace, hope, and a sense of security. Plus, he has a tiger. Ain't no one telling him how to act. Ending the episode with Carol moving into a nearby house, yet still close enough for Ezekiel to check in. I love this episode, and might even say it's Norman Reedus' best acting ever. Something about watching him getting psychologically tortured just warms my cold little heart. You see, Dwight's feeding Daryl some dog food, but not just any dog food, A-OK kind, with beef and vegetables. God, is this a prison or a vacation? He's even got the same good old song on repeat. Daryl gets a break from his funky fun to get the Glen killer checked on, since last time we saw it, it had a bullet in it. In this episode, we also find out that Sharon, Shaniqua, I can't remember her name. Hey, she offered, and I'm using that word extremely loosely, she offered to be one of Negan's many wives, in exchange for sparing Dwight's life. Plus, Negan's down one after his sister bit the knife last season, though Dwight still needed to be punished for breaking the rules, so Negan burns half his face. Seems fair. Dwight shows off the courtyard to Daryl, saying if he's a bad dog, he'll get put to work with the walkers. Pretty sure Daryl would prefer that over Easy Street for the 600th time, but why no? Before we move on, the courtyard has some dead ends that need counting, with there being 7 heads on spikes, plus the shadow of another head, making 8, a half body dangling, and 2 bodies on the floor, meaning the courtyard has 11 corpses. Make that 12. Man, I thought that D stood for Dwight, not D. Wait a minute. I recognize him. He was flashing the store clerk. Dwight heads out to track down a runaway, stumbling across 7 unmoving splats, and a kamikaze walker. I hate it when that happens. Dwight gets piled on, so he whips out his pew to end it. And up the road, finds his target, adding another death to the toll. He tackles him to the ground, and makes him walk halfway home, then pops him in the back of the head. Pretty sure this was a mercy kill, but still, why make him walk?
This, it can all be yours. All you gotta do is answer one simple question.
Watch out, Daryl, he's gonna ask you to be his wife. The Saviors proved their name when they rolled up to Alexandria for the first pickup.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
And since Daryl declined the proposal last episode, he's still a prisoner, tagging along for the ride. Michonne's out and about, practicing his sniper aim on a walker, and this hard-scoping prick keeps missing, even from this range. Now, imagine if she was white, blonde, getting creeped on by an old man, and straight from season 1. Because, did you know, this whole story was originally written for Andrea's character, but since she got written like shit in a handbag, they killed her off and handed the trophy to Michonne. And since Michonne sucks, she just slices it up and walks away in defeat. Realizing she did hit something, hope the Saviors are hungry for venison. Speaking of, they're still at Alexandria.
Hot diggity dog. This place is magnificent.
Negan tells Rick they're taking half their stuff now, but they choose what's half. Then, the most disrespectful thing happens in the whole show. Not only does he steal that pop, he wastes it. And it's the same pop Denise almost died for, then actually did die for.
Negan, something you might want to see.
I got my fingers crossed for a little freaky deaky.
Know me. I kill people. I don't
Jesus. Is that you, Rick, underneath all that man bush? I would not have messed with that guy.
A shot goes off in the distance, bringing us the best acting performance in the entire show.
Put some back, or the next one goes in you.
What do you think happens next?
You die. He's taking all of our medicine. They said only half our stuff.
Wow, that is just wow. Negan walks over to shut that shit down. He's all like, "Don't threaten us, kid. Watch where you point that gun, boy. You child me man. Even though Cole's like 43 for mortgage and a rental plan at this point. How old are you? Whatever. He backs down because his plan was stupid. And then Negan realizes these people have a lot of guns. So he takes them all. Well, all except 2. Rick tries to get them back. So when he's searching, we'll cut to Rosita fighting and killing 4 walkers. And 1 gym hopper. All because one of the dead-ends had a pistol. No bullet, but a pistol. Rick trashes Spencer's house and finds the guns. Right before the saviors leave, Rick makes Michonne hand over her rifle. Which is fine. She's a lousy shot anyway.
Let me ask you something, Rick. Do you want me to go?
I think that'd be good.
Then just say those 2 magical words.
Thank you. I just slit my dick down your throat, and you thanked me for it.
God, I'm glad I didn't see that. Is that like in the Blu-ray or something? Like, where would someone find that scene? You know, so I can avoid it. Maggie and Sasha are having a heart-to-heart after burying Glenn and Abraham on Hilltop, when boss man Gregory shows up, telling them to leave because he doesn't want the saviors to know about the deal. This might be the only time Gregory is right and justified. Hilltop gave Alexandria medicine, food, and a cow. In return, Alexandria was supposed to take out the saviors, which they didn't. Enid's cycling to see Maggie, passing some barbecue ribs and a walker of buffalo sauce all over his face. Damn, that didn't kill him. Now you know why I need to see a body for the toll. He gets back up so the driver reverses, tallying him and 2 other bodies. The driver turns out to be Cole, who just finished his 9 to 5 or something. He says he came along to keep Enid safe, however, the real reason comes out soon. For now, we've got to go back to Hilltop and their problems. The saviors open the gates without anyone noticing, roll a car into Hilltop, blasting some music without anyone noticing, set the place on fire, learning the dead, and they did this without anyone noticing. Okay, how? Maggie takes charge, handing out jobs for the residents while Gregory hides in the shadows. And when Jesus and Sasha are dealing with the walkers, Maggie steams in for the final blow, crushing the car with a tractor and getting some pretty solid walker kills along the way. All that bumps the toll up by 31. When the saviors finally do show up to, you know, save, Gregory panics and tries to hand over the women, thinking they're hiding in the closet, but after opening it, he just finds May in his crate of whiskey. Simon takes the whiskey, and after they leave, Maggie gives him a wallop, tells him he needs to start treating her with respect.
Not sorry you saw it.
I watched it both times. Didn't look away.
Why?
Because
I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Carl and Enid arrive at Hilltop, finding the saviors already here. Carl finally admits he wasn't there for Enid. He just wants Negan dead. So they cross bacteria, then Carl hitches a ride back to Sanctuary, with Jesus tagging along. This is the most hated episode of the season, which is kind of mad, considering we opened the season with... And I get it. This episode only follows Tara from the main cast. It's slow, lots of talking, not much happening, and yeah, I liked it. So let's get into it. 2 girls are clearing the beached walkers when they stumble across a whale. That is horrible to say. I'm disappointed in you.
Wait!
She's not a bobber. She's alive.
We still gotta do it.
No.
We're supposed to.
Okay, you little psycho. Lucky for Tara, they decide a stick will not go through her head. This episode, they give her some water, a spear, and a death for the count, which in Tara's mind, makes her the enemy. So stalks her home, very sneaky-like, hurting absolutely no one along the way. The group catch and surround her.
Look, I'm cool. I'm not here to hurt anyone.
Cindy, get away from her.
She hasn't done anything wrong.
Her charisma check passes, meaning she can eat dinner, provide an opportunity for a flashback to Tara and Heath on a bridge. She spots a bag stuck in a sand pile, so starts tugging on it. But Heath and I get jealous, so he tells her to stop. She does not stop. A sand pile collapses, and surprise, it's full of sandy boys. They start fighting for their lives, taking out 6 of them. 1 of them curling up into a ball and die. Then Tara gets piled on. Luckily, Heath's there, lending his remaining bullet, meaning no more backup. So Tara gets, well, backed up, off the edge into the ocean. That's how she ends up on the beach. They seem to believe her and even offer her a place to stay. Of course, she says no, wanting to go home to her girlfriend. Oh, right. She doesn't know. They agree to let her leave in the morning, sending 2 women with her, under the excuse of setting up a trade agreement between the 2 communities. That excuse lasts about 5 minutes, because the same 2 women try to kill her while she's dealing with a walker. Once again, Sydney comes to the rescue, even walking her back to the bridge. Dinner? A walk? Smell of fish? Reminds me of my first day. Hey, more walkers. The first one, controversially, I'm not counting as a death. As we all know,
it's gotta be the brain. Y'all know nothing?
Just because the show ignores its own rules doesn't mean I do. A cloth drops, revealing even more dead, making Tara give up on life and run straight into them. Thankfully, Sydney stops the attempt, and together, they put down 7 walkers, creating enough space for Tara to slip past. She starts looking for Heath, but he's gone. No RV, no nothing. Just this PPP card. Can't wait to find out what this means later in the season. She heads back home and on the way, eats another news reporter, before finally making it back, smiling and feeling good. Then she gets an update. Girlfriend dead, Glenn and Abraham turn to mash, the town belongs to a foreign dictator, not the usual Rictator. Daryl is now a monkey in a cage, and Rick's a dog on a leash. Oh, and they also hand over half their supplies every week. And you know what's worse than my version of events? Imagine Eugene explaining that to her. Michonne's out killing walkers. Don't worry about why yet, we'll come back to this later. Right now, we need to check in on Carl and Jesus, as they're getting pretty close to Sanctuary. The plan is to jump, tuck and roll out the moving van, but once Jesus goes, Carl stays, wanting to finish the mission. And really, does Jesus ever really leave if he's always in our heart? The truck stops and Carl open fires, dropping 2 henchmen before getting tackled to the ground. What annoys me is, bro had so many chances to shoot Negan. He's just out there, walking around, having a stroll, acting untouchable. Hell, I'm starting to believe he is. Negan seems to like the kid, so instead of getting Lucille, he gets the grand tour of the sanctuary. The camera pans away, revealing 4 extra heads added to the fence. Now back to Michonne and her plan. She's building a dead wall of her own, and after I counted them all, it came out to 30. Minus 2 from earlier, that adds 28 to the total. A car rolls up, and when a woman steps out, Michonne puts a blade to her neck, ordering her to drive to places unknown for reasons we don't hear. Another death to mention happens when Spencer tries stealing a bow from a walker stuck in a tree. The platform it's standing on collapses, forcing the walker to meet gravity. Rosita brings Eugene to the laser factory, wanting a bullet made for that empty gun she found. He says no, not wanting her dead, so she calls him worthless, pathetic, and useless. And lucky for her, Eugene is into that talk, so gets to work. The rest of the story is just Negan ripping into Carl.
You gotta take that crap off your face. I want to see what Grandma got me. Christ! That is disgusting. No wonder you covered that up.
You left Lucille out by the truck?
Were you gentle? Were you kind? Did you treat her like a lady?
Yes, sir.
You pet her little pussy like a lady? I'm just screwing around, man. A baseball bat doesn't have a pussy.
Not with that mentality. Negan eventually takes Carl home and waits for Rick, who's currently busy in episode 8. Rick and Aaron are out gathering supplies when they spot a boat full of goodies. Problem is, the only way out there is a dinghy that has more holes than Laurie did for when Shane's around. So the plan is to paddle out and transfer to a canoe. But before any of that, I need to count some bodies. Everything face down in the water, I'm counting as a
unidentifiable.
No clue if they're walkers or people. All we know is they're dead. And I won't lie, this was a nightmare to count. Half the time I couldn't tell what was a
unidentifiable
body and what was a walker or a piece of rubbish floating in the water. So after way too long, I landed on 34 deaths. Once the plan is a go-go, some walkers start swimming, trying to climb onto the boat. Does that make them smart variant walkers? Who knows? Rick and Aaron start stabbing away. 4 walker stabs later, they reach the second canoe and find a sleepy walker. While Rick takes care of that, Jason Voorhees resurrects from the dead, grabbing Aaron, dragging him under, and he's fine. Both of them make it to the boat where they find 2 more corpses. They load the truck up with all their loot, when a pair of boots reveals to be watching them. Hopefully, there's a person attached to them feet. A note gets slipped under Daryl's door, telling him to go, so he makes his escape, making a pit stop at Dwight's room to steal his clothes and take his nut. On the way out, he runs into a savior and enacts some revenge, finding Rick's trusty revolver in the guy's pocket. That or this dude just really likes getting beat to death. Now, for the most complicated scene in the whole episode. The woman Michonne took hostage shows our walkers, people, aliens, fucking Bigfoot. Look, I'll be honest, this is all too confusing for me, so I'm not even going to attempt to try and explain it.
That's Negan. Is he down there? Yeah. We're all Negan. Go home. Burn this car. Roll it down into a lake. There's a silencer in the glove compartment.
While Rick's busy risking his life for Negan supplies, he's been back at Alexandria, cooking dinner with Carl, having a family meal, but between you and me, Michonne's looking a bit different, and even having a drink with the neighbours. You see, Spencer has been sliving around the saviors, trying to build trust and score some points.
Play your cards right, maybe I'll show you where we live. Maybe I'll buy you a sandwich.
Just tell me when.
You like watching Haircut?
Yes.
I was not expecting that answer, and I completely forgot it was true. Eugene is such a great character. Right, where were we? Spencer's been doing all of this so he can convince Negan to kill Rick, and put him in charge of Alexandria, which goes exactly as you would expect. Rosita finally hits her limit and takes a shot at Negan, using the bullet Eugene made. And by some miracle, she hits Lucille instead. Negan immediately clocks this bullet is homemade. Yes, you heard that right, folks. This former high school PE teacher knows this bullet is homemade, right? Rosita claims she made it, but Negan doesn't buy it. Rick shows up and Negan tells him to be grateful, calls home alive and unharmed, and he's even got rid of Slippery Spencer and idly Olivia.
By looking at her, that mouth did some major damage.
Negan wants to know who made the magic bullet. Eugene steps up and admits it before anyone else gets hurt. Negan decides he wants Eugene, so he offers to marry him. No, I'm joking. He does take him back to Sanctuary though, with the cherry on top being reanimated Spencer, who now needs to die all over again, officially ending the Monroe family tree. Rick heads to Hilltop, trying to convince everyone it's time to fight back. He also reunites with Daryl, in a scene which is kinda heartwarming and brings joy. I hate it. Gabriel's stealing all the community's food, loading into his car, and driving off. Why? None of our business, apparently. Because the next scene is the group trying to raise the rebellion plan to Gregory. He starts being, well, completely reasonable again, saying that outnumbered and outtrained. After all, the Hilltopians, or whatever they're called, are just simple farmers.
You're wrong. When people have the chance to do the right thing, they usually step up. I mean, people just...
Let me stop you before you break into song, okay?
After Big Boss Greg turned them down, our group get ready to leave when some Topians step up and state they're willing to fight. Which is a start, but still not enough. So Jesus introduces the group to King Ezekiel.
Jesus! It pleases me to see you, old friend. It pleases him indeed, Jerry.
Jerry, you are the King's steward, not his parrot.
Oh, right, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, Tiger.
Rick makes his pitch, the king listens, then declines, because honestly, he's got it pretty good. The saviors don't enter the kingdom, they only ask for a few things, nowhere near half, and barely bother them. What he does do is offer Daryl sanctuary. Maybe not the best word choice. Rick tells Daryl to take it, and he heads back to Alexandria without him. They run into a tripwire set between two cars. A savior trap meant to wipe out a big herd. Rick sees the three explosives and gets excited. Rosita, who somehow knows how to do this, disarms the detonators. Then Rick gives Sasha and Jesus a pointless mission to exit the stage.
Tell Maggie we're not giving up. Go!
Here.
While everyone else starts collecting the dynamite, Rick gets a bright idea to drive the car straight into the herd, using the wire to mow them down. I'm not going to count any of these as deaths. The wire is not high it ain't touching the brain. They stop right in the middle of the herd, forcing the plot armor into overdrive, as they casually walk back to the car and shut the door. Easy, safe, the walkers don't even try to get inside. Very polite of them. And when driving off, I can't add deaths for this, but it gets complicated like mine and your dad's relationship. Here's why. Rosita says,
Yeah, I didn't like the look of that shit at all.
which makes me think she's talking about this stick.
Not that one. I don't like the way it looks.
Only problem, she puts the stick down before any walkers get kneecapped. And if you look, there are walkers clearly kneecapped before the explosion. So my next thought was, the cars explode. But we can see they're chilling in the background. So the only explanation I've got is Jesus came back and smited them. The deaths I'm adding are all the walkers in this frame. My reasoning is, it's far enough into the horde that we can still see the front walkers, but not far enough that it's next to the cars, meaning all 75 walkers had to die in the blast. Does any of this make sense? No? Okay. Cool scene though. When they get home, they find Simon's crew already waiting in Alexandria, ready to search the place for missing Daryl. Which seems like an excuse just to smash everything, but whatever. The final stop, the food storage. And surprise, surprise, the shelves are empty. At least Simon shows his empathy. Once they're satisfied Daryl's not here, they leave, giving Rick and the gang a moment to talk on why Gabriel vanished with all the food. So they follow his trail and walk straight into an ambush. The kingdom is doing their weekly savior trip when Richard and this rat both start squeaking, forcing the Lord King to step in. But Rat Boy isn't done and swings at him, so Master Morgan steps in with a Now Rat Boy is even more pissed, grabbing Morgan's stick and starts swinging, clipping both of them. So the young boy Benjamin steps in, knocking the savior to the ground. Gosh, all these steps are making me tired. Things finally cool off when Gavin, the leader of the savior squad, steps in, telling everyone to pack up and taking Morgan's stick as collateral. Oh no, they're gonna force it to listen to Easy Street. Richard equips Daryl with his third crossbow of the series, as he wants Daryl to help ambush the saviors. The plan is to leave a trail of breadcrumbs, leading straight to Carol's house, because in Richard's mind, she wants to die anyway, so why not make her dreams come true? And if she does die, Ezekiel might finally want to fight back.
She's tough.
Daryl has a soft spot for lonely windows. Yes, that is what I meant to say. So he tells Richard to stand down. Richard says no. I guess Richard really is a dick. The gang gets dragged to the scrapyard where we meet the trash people. And if I do dare say, their home is a complete mess. It looks like a dump. And they all talk like they were dropped as kids.
The boat things you took got taken. It's all them, so we took the rest. And we took him. Tamiel, Brian, show Rick up.
Shut your Jim Carrey looking ass up and talk normally. The apocalypse started a year ago, not 10. They throw Rick into a pit because their leader, Jadis, wants to see if he really is the man Gabriel claims him to be, by making him fight this blind, deaf walker. Surely this crosses some kind of moral line. If Rick wins, they'll consider helping fight the saviors, so no pressure. Rick struggles against this thing, even stepping on a tool whilst looking for a weapon. But using Michonne's advice, he rips part of the wall down, pinning the walker to the floor. And now, it's spike time. Rick proves himself useful to Jadis, and they agree to help, on the condition of lots of guns.
Guns. Soon.
Soon.
Fuck me, is there an echo in here? Well, good news, they've got a deal. Bad news, thanks to Gabriel, Alexandria is about to starve. Cheers for that, mate. Ending things off with Daryl and Carol reuniting. He decides not to tell her about the people Negan killed, hoping it keeps her out of the mess. Then he heads off to Hilltop. Dwight gets his shit rocked as punishment for letting Daryl escape, and he gets thrown into a cell where he'll sit for most of the episode. Eugene is expecting a similar treatment. Instead, he gets a new home, nice room, and good music. Eugene doesn't get this for free though. he has to earn it. First job, marry Negan. Second job, prove he's actually smart. He explains how to fortify the fence walkers by encasing their body in metal so they don't fall apart as easily. To thank Eugene for his brilliance, Negan sends his wife to pay him a visit, and Eugene amuses him the only way he knows how.
Jizz in my pants. This really never happens, you can take my word. I won't apologize, that's just absurd.
After getting cleaned up, Eugene takes him outside for science, which, funny enough, looks very similar to after all that foamy goodness is over. The ladies ask him if he can make a go-go pill for this girl Amber. He agrees, but when they come back to collect the pills, he declines them, after realizing they're not for Amber, they're for Negan. And considering he's got it better here than back home, he backs out.
You're a coward. You're a coward.
That bloody parrot is back again.
That is a correct assessment.
Negan informs Dwight that his deeply beloved Sherry ran away, the same time as Daryl disappeared. Coincidence? Negan thinks not. So he sends Dwight to chase her down and bring her back, as nothing says love you like captivity. But all Dave finds, what am I saying? I don't know him like that. All Dwight finds is a note from Sherry, admitting to being the one who helped Daryl escape, which means if she gets caught, both of them are sloppy-toppy screwed. So Dwight plans to blame on someone else, the doctor, expecting the classic iron board treatment. But instead... the opening is rough. No pun intended. It's Rick and Michonne out scavenging, set to this awful beat. They loot, they kill, and they do the sex. And that's the cycle. Killing, looting, sexing. They end up at this carnival park and loot a rifle off a corpse. Hoping there's more of their luck about, they head in. While they're busy with that, Rosita's off on her own side mission, trying to find something useful to Negan. Unfortunately, her troubles were wasted on a BB gun. They climb up onto the roof and see a bunch of Walker soldiers, still wearing their gear, guns and all. Michonne starts wasting ammo, shooting at a carnival game, showing her aim has improved. No idea how, this is her first time using a rifle since this mess. And also, don't Walkers love noise? Don't matter, they fall through the roof and die. No, they land on a perfectly placed mattress, surrounded by canned foods and MREs. After a night of eating and beating, they wake up and start clearing. Rick takes out 1 and Michonne does 6. No idea how she negotiated that deal. Then they start getting shot at by a walker, but apparently no one's worried about that, so neither am I. They finally use their brains and attack the dead from behind a fence, killing 8 of them when it gives way. They fall back and rethink their strategy. New plan. Rick guards a ferret wheel, Michonne takes a slide, and together, they add another 26 to the toll. Rick spots a very real deer, so they climb up to try and get a better shot, and almost dies when it collapses. He takes out 3 walkers, but when Michonne gets there, it's too late. She goes into shock, then surprise, Rick cartwheels out of a box. I would question how, but considering he's been inside Michonne's half the episode, best to leave it at that. They clean up the remaining 8, share a hug over the wasted dinner, and start collecting the guns, adding another 32 to the toll. All thanks to those lovely skeletons. On the way back, Rick pulls over for a heart-to-heart.
I can lose you, our friends, people we love.
Nothing like telling your wife you'd be okay with her death. And now we're back with the trash people. Jade is still not satisfied. Ugh, just give her a day with Rick. That guy's like a rabbit. She's also not happy with them on her guns, so tells Rick to bring back more or no deal. Rosita is done with all the shenanigans, taking matters into her own hands, and goes to Sasha for help. The goal? Take out Negan. Carol's taking the scenic route to the mighty kingdom. On the way, she hides in a tree and smartly takes out 5 walkers. She meets up with Morgan and talks about a whole lot of nothing, then heads back home, passing a corpse. The Royal Guard arrive for another savior trade, making week 3 of the saviors being around. Except this time, they're 1 million short. The saviors don't like that, so Richard steps up, ready to take the punishment. But he's not the one who gets shot.
Okay.
It's young Benjamin, and despite trying everything, they can't save him, which starts to send Morgan straight back into his nutty mode. Morgan finds the missing melon and figures Richard must have been the one who hit it during their stop. When Morgan confronts him, Dick admits it. The plan was for him to take the bullet, as he wanted to stir things up between the Kingdom and the Saviors. Morgan doesn't accept that reasoning, so the next day during the rest of the Savior deal, Morgan strangles Dick right in front of everyone, and it's disgusting. You can see Dick's veins, his head's pulsing blue, almost about to pop. It's horrid. Oh yeah, he's strangling Richard too. After the deed is done, he tells him exactly what happened, and since Morgan just lost someone, as he's starting to lose his mind again, he tells Carol everything, and I mean everything, making Carol metaphorically pick up a sword and move into the Kingdom as she starts getting ready for war. The Saviors roll up to Hilltop, forcing Daryl and Maggie to hide. Turns out though, they're not here for them. They need a doctor, ever since the last one became pre-exposed. Gregory pulls Trevor aside and asks him if the doctor can stay, as his people won't be happy losing their only doctor. Simon shuts that down real quick, telling him if his people don't like it, Gregory can come to talk to him, and he'll sort it out. While they're talking business outside, Daryl breaks down inside, apologizing to Maggie for, you know. Maggie tells him it's not his fault, and he has no reason to blame himself. While on their way to Sanctuary, Rosita and Sasha take out 2 walkers, then realize they need a car, so break into a car rental shop place, kill another walker, and drive off. They post up in a nearby building to scope out the Sanctuary, and spot Eugene living his best life. They also see Negan, but can't get a clean shot, so they move in.
Double kill.
They try to rescue Eugene, yet he refuses, waddling back inside. Sasha chases after him, locking the gate behind so Rosita can't follow. Ooh, I can't wait to see her wreak havoc next episode. Our group head out to Oceanside, hoping to get them to join the war. And if that doesn't work, they'll just kill them and take their guns. Fun. However, we do need to pause that excitement and catch up with Sasha and her pure destruction. She's cool. Oh, she got captured. Cool. Would have loved to say how, but nope. Off screen. Dodgy David strolls into a cell and starts getting real touchy-feely. Luckily, Negan steps in because he doesn't allow that behavior around here. Not unless he forced a marriage first. So he relocates his knife. Negan leaves the bloody knife behind, giving Sasha a choice. End her own life, or stop this guy from turning. And with David starting to twitch, she needs to make a decision. Maggie's out harvesting a plant when I'm the boss strolls over, trying to swing the power back in his favor by any means necessary. Before anything can happen, a walker comes out the trees, so the boss springs into action and instantly retreats, leaving pregnant Maggie to deal with it. Surprise! It was an ambush. Gregory takes her from behind, while Maggie's dropping the first walker, then rushes over to take out the second, saving his life, yet completely embarrassing him in front of everyone else. Now back to the fun. The ocean people caught a fish. I swear fish take up 90% of the animal toll. When the leader heads inside, Tara greets her at gunpoint, suggesting they join the fight. Yep, seems like a real option. But to my surprise, she reinforces her answer is no.
Those hands, put them on your head.
Love being on the side of the good guys. A small herd hears the dinner bell and skips over. Our group wipe out all 25, clearly showing off in front of their new friends. And once the flex is over, their leader still refuses to join the war. But she does agree to hand over the guns, like she ever had a choice in the matter. Negan comes back to check on Sasha and finds a knife wedged into Walker David's skull. He tells her he's got big plans waiting for her, which doesn't sound creepy at all. And since Sasha hates the sound of that, later when Eugene comes to visit, she begs him for a weapon. Not to fight, to end it. Eugene agrees and comes back with the go-go pills he made earlier. Problem is, Sasha doesn't want the pills. She was hoping for something sharp, so when Negan drops his guard, she can slash away. Oh well, sucks to suck. The episode ends with Dwight alone in Alexandria, wanting to tell Rick he's switching sides.
Is that true? You want to help?
I do.
Okay.
Sasha's locked inside a pitch black coffin, listening to her favorite song.
For my daughter was my mother, cause she was my father's wife.
Dwight fills everyone in that tomorrow, Negan is coming with 60 of his guys, as someone tipped him off about the wall prep. We'll find out who that was very soon, but now, thanks to Dwight, the group have one night to come up with a plan, while Dwight heads back to Sanctuary to keep appearances. Maggie officially takes control of Hilltop, ever since Gregory buggered off to Sanctuary. Her first decree is a difficult choice. She wants to head to Alexandria to help fight back. Only problem, Judith and the other kids are here, and Maggie's not thrilled about leaving them unprotected. In the morning, the trash people show up to help prepare for war.
Yours?
We're together.
I lay with him after. You care?
We should get back to work.
They didn't say no. I saw that look, rookie. That was a you on board look. They wire explosives, park cars, set up snipers, ready for everything. Except, I don't know, an autistic mullet-rocking scientist with a megaphone. But what are the odds of that happening? You gotta be shitting me.
Hello?
Rick gives the order to blow him up. After all, he did say,
Where's Negan?
I'm Negan.
and nothing happens. Turns out, Eugene used his big brain powers and disarmed all the bombs telepathically. And then the real twist, Jadis and her people double-cross Rick, saying Negan made a better offer. No clue how that conversation went, but sure. Negan tells Rick he brought Sasha, hoping her life is enough to make Rick stand down. Nobody cares about Sasha. When Negan goes to open the coffin, we cut back to Sasha in a flashback, taking the go-go pill. Meaning when Negan opens the door, R.I.P. Sasha. I never really liked you. The Alexandrians use the chaos to take out 6 trash people. Tara even gets a little friendly fire in. A savior rushes in to help Negan, and Sasha immediately turns it around on him. Jada's hit markers Rick and drags him off, forcing the rest of the Alexandrians to surrender. Well, everyone except Daryl. He ain't going back to jail. She dumps Rick right in front of Negan, except this time, Rick isn't afraid. You hear me? He's not afraid anymore. Even when Negan sees Rick is about to lose everyone he loves.
I'm gonna kill Carl now. You can do it right in front of me.
Gosh, Rick. You seem a little eager for Carl to die. Just as Negan's about to turn Carl into spaghetti, Tigger jumps in and has himself a savory snack.
Alexandria will not fall! Not on this day!
Ah, chills. Literal chills.
It's cool that the tiger showed up, but does it know who it's meant to be eating? The fight keeps fighting and deaths keep deathing. I'm just gonna add them all now. There were 19 on-screen deaths and 12 miscellaneous bodies, all scattered around. The reinforcements from Hilltop and the Kingdom are enough to make the Saviors retreat, with the final death of the season being Walker Sasha, who for some reason wanders off into the woods instead of towards the gunfire. You know what? I'm done questioning it. The season ends with Negan rallying his troops for war. I am going to wrap this up quickly, as my throat feels like it just went 10 rounds at the glory. That was The Walking Dead Season 7, which had a death toll of 14 animals, 49 humans, 87 unidentifiable bodies that were scattered around, meaning the remaining 354 were walkers, bringing the final toll to 504. The most deaths I thought would have been in episode 9, but to my surprise it was episode 12 that had 90, and the least in episode 11, which only had the 1, which might be a death toll record. Alright, sorry if this video was not to my usual quality, I am extremely ill, but no one cares about that. So that's all from me, and I hope to see you in a bit.